Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Robot Island by Carrie Fagan. Willis is 12 years old, and for most of his life, he's lived with his uncle Todd in a ramshackle bookshop that seems to be filled with more books than love. And because of all that, Willis doesn't really have a good sense of what it's like to live in a normal family with people who actually care about him. He does have two very good friends at school, which helps, and he tries to be a good student, so life isn't quite so bad. But when he is asked one day to go read to an elderly widow in town, he's not totally sure he wants to do it. He doesn't like reading so much himself, but because it's an expectation that his uncle has of him, he goes to do it. When he's there, he discovers that he actually likes spending time with this woman and reading with her and with all of the other people in her house. But when his uncle asks him to do the worst thing that he could think of, Willis doesn't know what to do. He has to follow all of the rules that his uncle sets for him, but he knows in his heart that doing what he's asked is wrong. And when all of his behavior catches up with him, Willis finds himself escaping to a place that nobody else really seems to know about, and it's there that he has to decide where his real friendship and loyalties lie and how he wants to proceed with his life. This middle grade novel does a really interesting job of comparing some recognizable features of middle grade literature. So you have this character who has no parents, who doesn't really experience a lot of love in his life, and then also just the very real complications that come with knowing the difference between right and wrong, especially when grown-ups are the ones that are trying to tell you what is right and wrong, and when in your heart you know that what they're asking you may not be the right thing. So you have some features of adolescence that are coming through in this, and you also have a little bit of a sci-fi component as well with Robot Island, the place that Willis discovers and finds more of a home than he has ever felt among humans. So you have this blend of kind of 1950s style robots with real life and also the complications that come from making choices that may not be the best choices to make, and then all of the relationships that change as a result. So Willis is the primary narrator of the story. It's told almost all in first person from his perspective, so readers get to sense all of the drama that is happening behind the scenes with him internally, trying to adhere to his uncle's strict expectations, but also realizing that his own opinions may be slightly different. So the book is written for a confident middle grade reader, so you've got some white space. Mostly it is text, and you have primarily a lot of dialogue actually, so that does help propel the momentum of the story forward. Occasionally you have little visual elements as well, so that helps to keep things a little bit more engaging for readers, and it helps them to better understand a couple of the different nuances of the story. The characters in the book are all very quirky and they have their own personalities, and that makes the story endearing. And also it helps to connect readers to the characters in the story, helps them find familiarity with one or more of the characters, and helps to empathize a little bit better with Willis's situation. So the story takes a little while to get going because there's a lot of exposition that has to happen, but once it does, readers are engaged and encouraged to figure out what happens next, how Willis will find his way back again, if he will find his way back again, and how he might rectify the relationships that have been damaged along the way. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.